Hello everyone. Good evening all. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. In whichever time whoever is watching this video, please listen carefully. So many of the ACCA students have sent me a message saying that, sir, what are these different types of reports, right? Modified reports, and how do we identify that different types of reports? As it is a compulsory question in the exam. There will not be any paper without asking the type of opinion, right? Type of report is also called as type of opinion, right? So in this video today, let us discuss it a very deep, simplified manner about your audit reports. Listen, audit and assurance, the topic itself indicates that first you should conduct an audit and after that you need to give a report, right? Report is nothing but your opinion on financial statements. Now listen, at the end of the audit, right? We are talking about the end of the audit. At the end of the audit, what happens is auditor need to form an opinion on the financial statement based upon the evidences that he has collected so far, right? And he should express only a single opinion on financial statements, right? Now let us understand what are the international standards on auditing dealing with this type of opinions, right? One is your ISA 700 and your ISA 705, and also we have ISA 706, 701 and 710 and 720. Means all your 700 series standards discusses about the opinion to be expressed by the auditors, right? In those standards, the key standards or the base standards for your reporting is ISA 700 and then ISA 705. Now, ISA 700 talks about your reporting, means the format of the audit report and what contents you should include in the audit report. Whereas coming to ISA 705 talks about whenever any modifications in your audit opinion happens, then how to report it, right? So please concentrate for 5 or 10 minutes. You can understand everything, right? Now listen, reports are of two types. Opinions are of two types, which is called as a modified opinion and unmodified opinion, right? Modified opinion and unmodified opinion. So 700 ISS 700 talks about the unmodified opinion format. Now, if your opinion is modified, right? See, had you been my student, I would have told you that initially the audit will begin with a positive mindset, with a positive opinion, means positive mindset, that the financial statements are generally free from material misstatements. Now as the audit progresses, if the auditor come across any misstatements or any other matters, right, which disturbs his initial thinking about the financial statements, then his opinion will be modified, right? So, as coming back to our discussion, so our audit reports or audit opinions are of two types. One is the modified opinion, another one is unmodified opinion. Right? Now listen, unmodified opinion means what? What is unmodified opinion? That the financial statements are free from material misstatements, which means auditor doesn't have any modification in his mind. Whatever the opinion he have started with the audit, that सब कुछ अच्छा होगा financial statements में, the same thing is still carried in his mind, and that is unmodified. He gives an unmodified report. Now this opinion gets modified sometimes what happens, the opinion that he has in his mind that the financial statements are free from material misstatements, sometimes this opinion get disturbed, right? Then we call the opinion as modified opinion, right? It is called as what? Modified opinion. Now, modification, whenever the auditor wants to give, he need to identify that what level of modification he should give. All right, what level of modification he should give. Now, based upon that level of modification, now what is level of modification? The intensity of the communication that the auditor wants to make will decide which type of modified opinion to be given. Right? So, जो modified opinions होता है, three types of modified opinions होता है. One is called as qualified opinion, another one is called as adverse opinion, and another one is called as disclaimer of opinion. Right? Right. So have you all understood this? So how many type of modifications will be there? There will be three types of modifications. There will be three types of modifications. One is called as the qualified opinion, adverse opinion, and disclaimer of opinion. These three are modified audit opinions. These three are modified audit opinions, right? Now listen, how you should identify these modified audit opinions in your exam, right? For that, you need to remember one rule, that first and foremost, why my opinion gets modified, right? Why my opinion gets modified? Whenever I identify any misstatements, then my opinion will be modified. The second one, if I am not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, right? Being an auditor, if I am not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, even in that case, my opinion will be modified, right? The first reason is whenever the financial statements are materially misstated, then it will be modified. And then whenever I am not in a position to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, even in that case, my opinion will modify. Right? Let us say I'm conducting the audit and I identified there are some misstatements in calculation of salary. Do you think that I will say that there is no modification, there is no misstatements in financial statements, everything is clean? Can I say that? No, I can't say that. Since there are misstatements, my opinion will be modified. I will say that no financial statements तो कुछ ठीक है नहीं है, कुछ गड़बड़ है, राइट? उसको एक्सप्रेस करने के लिए मुझे मॉडिफिकेशन ऑडिट रिपोर्ट देना पड़ेगा, ऑडिट मॉडिफाइड ओपिनियन देना पड़ेगा, राइट? सो वो वाला ओपिनियन देने के लिए कितने तरफ का जो होता है ओपिनियंस होता है, मीन्स हाउ मेनी टाइप्स ऑफ ओपिनियंस आर देयर, राइट? डोंट माइंड, माय हिंदी इज नॉट गुड. How many types of modifications are there? Are three types, right? One is called as qualified opinion, adverse opinion, and disclaimer of opinion, right? Now we have understood the reasons, right? Only two reasons. One is financial statements are material misstated, and second one is inability of the auditor to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, right? Now listen, whenever I say financial statements are materially misstated, tell me, did the auditor have evidence with himself? Yes, he's having the evidence with himself, right? Only then he's saying that itna misstatement hai mera financial statements mein, right? This much of misstatements is there, right? Now, whenever auditor is having the evidence about the misstatements and those misstatements are material but not pervasive, right? Those misstatements are material but not pervasive. In such case, he's going to give qualified opinion, right? And whenever auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence and related to some matters, he may not be getting the audit evidence now. Now, if there is a possibility of misstatement in those areas where he is not going to get the audit evidence, even in that case, auditor will be giving what modified, I mean qualified opinion, right? So in this case, auditor is having the evidence and this case is not having the evidence. That is the reason why I did not say misstatements. What did I say? The possibility of misstatements, right? The possibility of misstatements, right? क्योंकि जब आपके पास कुछ एविडेंस नहीं होता है, कुछ आइटम्स के लिए, कुछ आइटम्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के लिए आपके पास जब एविडेंस नहीं होता है, देन देयर आर टू पॉसिबिलिटीज, राइट? जितना भी आपको इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं मिला है उस एरिया में मिसस्टेटमेंट्स हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है, राइट? दे कैन बी ए मिसस्टेटमेंट्स, देयर कैन नॉट बी ए मिसस्टेटमेंट्स. इफ देयर इज नो मिसस्टेटमेंट्स, फाइन, ऑडिटर इज हैप्पी, मैनेजमेंट इज हैप्पी, एवरीवन इज हैप्पी, right? But if there may be a possibility of misstatement, right, possibility of misstatement हो सकता है. In that case, जो possibility of misstatement होता है उसका जो impact होता है material but not pervasive होता है, then we give qualified opinion, right? कुल मिला के क्या होता है कि जो qualified opinion होता है two circumstances में दिया जाता है, दो circumstances में दिया जाता है. एक तो आपका financial statements are materially misstated, the second one आपके पास evidence नहीं है, राइट? ये दोनों केस में क्या होता है कि आपको चेक करना पड़ेगा, क्या क्या चेक करना पड़ेगा? जो मिसस्टेटमेंट है वो मटेरियल बट नॉट परवेसिव है या मटेरियल एंड परवेसिव है. अगर मटेरियल बट नॉट परवेसिव होता, देन वी गिव अ क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन, right? Then we give what? A qualified opinion, right? If it is material as well as pervasive, then we give other types of reports. I'll come to that. Now let us try to understand a pervasive क्या होता है. Material आप तो पढ़े होंगे, you would have read about the material. Material means something important, something significant whose omission or misstatement will impact the decision making of the users of financial statement, right? That is called as material. Now pervasive क्या होता है? तो pervasive होता है impact होता है, right? Pervasive means it talks about the impact, right? Now when we say the impact is high, right? One misstatement is having multiple effects in multiple accounts, right? जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में, बैलेंस शीट में, पीएनएल अकाउंट में जो आइटम्स होता है ना, मल्टीपल अकाउंट्स अफेक्ट हो रहा है, देन वी कॉल इट एज परवेसिव. और मेजॉरिटी ऑफ योर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, so majority of the profit and loss account, majority of the balance sheet is affected, then in order to show the impact of the misstatement we use the word called as pervasive, right? जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल, you completed the audit and you have finalized that your debtors are not correct, your stock is not correct, your creditors are not correct, your assets are not correct, which means, see, the multiple accounts are affected here, multiple accounts are affected here, right? Then we say it as pervasive. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि जो क्वालिफाइड ओपिनियन में होता है वो मटेरियल होना चाहिए लेकिन परवेसिव नहीं होना चाहिए, right? It is material but not pervasive, right? But not pervasive means multiple accounts are not affected, majority of the financial statements is not affected, right? Misstatements are there, material misstatements are there, लेकिन वो मल्टीपल अकाउंट्स का इफेक्ट नहीं करता है, वो उतना बड़ा सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं है, देन वी यूज द वर्ड नॉट परवेसिव, right? So whenever the auditor identifies the misstatement which are material but not pervasive, and auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence related to some matters whose possibility of misstatements is material but not pervasive, then he give qualified opinion. So qualified opinion आपको two cases में मिलेगा, you get in two cases, right? And then comes our adverse, right? See, adverse will be given only in one situation, disclaimer is given in one situation, right? Qualified two situations, adverse one situation, and disclaimer one situation, right? Adverse one situation, what is that? Auditor identifies misstatements, means उसके पास evidence है, is having the evidence, right? Who the if is having the evidence, right? About what? Misstatements which are material as well as pervasive, right? और misstatement जो identify किया है वो pervasive भी है and material भी है, in that case adverse opinion, right? Now if the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about some matters whose possibility of misstatements, right? See, for this second case I'm using the word possibility of misstatements, right, is both material and pervasive, then we give disclaimer of opinion, right? Have you all understood this? Okay, let us do a summary of this. Let us do a summary of this. Let us do a summary of this. Right. So, unmodified opinions. How many types? Repeat with me. Three types. Right. The more you repeat, the more you are going to get. Right. Just listen my videos and just repeat along with me. You get the concept. Right. First point is what? Auditor is unable to obtain, sorry, auditor has identified the misstatement. The second reason is auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, right? So if the auditor identifies the misstatement and those misstatements are material but not pervasive, then qualified opinion is given, right? Second case, whenever the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about some matters, right, and whose possibility of misstatements is material but not pervasive, again qualified report. Now let us go to adverse. Auditor has identified the misstatements, right, and those misstatements are material and also pervasive, adverse opinion. Auditor is unable to obtain audit evidence about certain matters whose possibility of misstatements are material and pervasive, means about multiple accounts you don't have the evidence, then what opinion you are going to give, my dear? Right there, disclaimer of opinion is given. What is given there? Disclaimer of opinion is given, right? Disclaimer of opinion is equal to not giving any opinion, right? In the disclaimer of opinion you will tell that, boss, I was appointed as an auditor, right? Sorry, shareholders, I am appointed as an auditor, I am about to conduct the audit, I want to identify the audit evidence and then give my audit opinion, but I could not do anything, right? About multiple accounts I don't have the evidences, right? In that case, what opinion I will give? So I cannot give any opinion, means not giving any type of opinion is called as disclaimer of opinion. That is the point here. So disclaimer of opinion is given in very very rare cases, very rare cases, whenever the books of accounts are destroyed by fire, whenever the books of accounts has been seized by any statutory authorities, right? Then वहाँ बुक्स भी नहीं होगा. जब आपका बुक्स लाइक फायर में, लाइक इट डिस्ट्रॉयस इन फायर, फायर में डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा, कौन सा अकाउंट आपका पूरा होगा? सो व्हाट अकाउंट्स यू आर गोइंग टू कंडक्ट फुल ऑडिट, राइट? एविडेंस होगा तो हम ऑडिट करेंगे ना, एविडेंस ही नहीं तो ऑडिट क्या करेंगे वहां पे, राइट? सो इन सच टाइप ऑफ केसेस वी आर गोइंग टू गिव डिस्क्लेमर ऑफ ओपिनियन, राइट? एंड नाउ Our next video will have the justifications about what changes that we make in the audit report contents, right? Whenever these type of opinions are given, right? That will be very, very short video. That will be a very, very short video, right? About what type of changes that happens in the audit report format whenever these modified opinions are given, right? Anyway, I hope that the concept has been made very, very simplified. So ensure that compulsorily you are reading the table that has been given in the ACCA study text, right? And I would also say that any CA student, CMA student reading about audit report, the same concept is applicable. The only difference is for ACCA we have ISA, International Standards on Auditing. For CA we are having Standards on Auditing, right? There also it is 700, 705. For CA also it is 700 and 705. The format is same, right? Thank you for watching my video. Have a nice time.